Let's face it, 13.3-inch devices are very expensive. They started out back in 2013, kind of, with the Sony DPT-RP1. It was only a professional device. Law firms, musicians, and production studios used these, and basically, they weren't really available to the end consumer. They then realized that a lot of people wanted that screen size, so they opened it up to kind of a prosumer level, and things took off. Now they're available all over the place, and you can actually buy these from a number of manufacturers to this very day. Today we're going to be looking at, in order, the top 5 13.3 inches you can buy right now. Just so we don't have to say it every time, yes, all of these on the list take notes. Number 5, the Hanvon Europa, or the Hanvon ED310. This is as fully loaded as it comes, 16 gigs onboard storage with an SD card, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a speaker. Now it only has 1 gig of RAM, so it's a little bit outclassed. Not only that, it came out in the tail end of 2019, 2020, and it's not available in a lot of markets. In fact, while creating this list, we didn't notice that this was readily available and subsequently has been added to our store. So if you did want this, it is available on our site. This one is lacking in specs, but the price is, well, I guess you could say right, at $800 USD. And compared to other things on this list, that's not that bad. Number 4, the Sony DPT-RP1. Now this is the one that essentially started it all in the modern age. This came out in around 2017, 2018, depending on the Japanese market or the US market. It has 2 gigs of RAM, no SD, no audio, and the ability to run no file formats outside of PDF. But it does have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and NFC. It's also running a 2200 by 1650 screen, so it's actually one of the highest resolutions on this. This is the Sony DPT. This is the one that has been the benchmark. This is the one that even after 4 years, it is still revered as one of the best writing experiences in the market. Because they pulled out of a lot of markets, the limited availability of stock, and the fact that really only Good e-Reader Japan sells these, it has increased in price to $1,000 USD. If you guys want a 26.6-inch e-reader, look no further than number 3, the Guido. We're just kidding, it actually is a 13.3, but it is a dual screen, hinged together, made from the ground up. No white labels, no nothing. This is all made in Japan. It's dual screen 1600 by 1200 with 8 gigs of storage. It also has a paltry 1 gigabyte of RAM, no headphone jack, no speakers, no NFC, no nothing. But it does have an SD card. Now you might be thinking, wow, for $1,800 I would like a little bit more. Well, that's not the thing. This is a high-end luxury item that is catered towards professional musicians. We're talking about the level of musicians that pay $20,000 for a violin. This is nothing to shake a stick at. Even the accessories are $300 cases, $300 foot pedals. This is the pinnacle of e-ink technology in its most luxurious form, and the price directly reflects that. Number 2, the Fujitsu Quaderno A4 2nd generation. The reason we're not putting the 1st generation on this is because it was a carbon copy clone of the Sony DPT-RP1. It was simply a white label. Now the generation 2 is doing things a little bit differently. It has a 2200 by 1650 screen, and it's running the new e-ink Carta 1250, which is a very advanced e-paper technology, giving you an amazing resolution, amazing pixel density, and overall faster performance. Now this does roughly copy the Sony DPT's hardware, but it does have new things like USB-C, 4 gigs of RAM, and an all-new EMR layer that allows you to use basically any stylus on the market. It's also only $780 USD, and yes, I say only because everything on this list is pretty expensive, so this actually makes it not only the newest 2021 model, but the cheapest on this list. Before we get into our number 1 spot, here are a few honorable mentions. The Dasung 13.3-inch monitors. They are not e-readers, they are not e-notes, they are simply monitors with an HDMI port, a power port, and the ability to capture anything that you put a video feed into. They don't have their own UI, and unfortunately Dasung did make two e-readers, the 7.8 and the 10.3. Neither of them were the big screen that we hoped for. The Kaitei 13.3, this came out in 2020. It isn't e-ink, it isn't e-paper, it is a magnet board, but it's not like a boogie board where it's all blue and purple and green. It's actually black and white. It mimics electronic ink with super fine magnet fragments. It comes with a stylus, it comes with an eraser, there's no battery, and it's a non-electronic good, which means emerging markets can purchase these for only $99 and there's no import issues. Number 1, the Max Lumi by Onyx Books. This thing is honestly just off the rails. There's nothing that it doesn't have, and it's only $80 more than the Quaderno. This thing is 2200 by 1650 with a 64 gigabyte storage. It has dual speakers, 4 gigs of RAM, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It can act as a secondary monitor under its own power with no power cables required. It has Google Play and it has a glow light. It actually has warm lighting as well. It can run any file format. It can run any language. It's fully loaded. This is the king. It is objectively the best 13.3 out there from a spec and feature perspective. There is no other device that rivals this. In fact, these are the only 5 being sold in the world right now, and you can tell from the specs, Max Lumi takes the cake. So there's the list. Now we hope that you guys are still hopeful, because if you think about it, when these came out 8 years ago, they were like $1,200 USD. So by comparison, the price really has dropped a lot. And inside tip, the Gen 2 of the Fujitsu Quaderno came out, which means if you want to get the Gen 1 from 2019-2020, it's much cheaper, giving you the easiest and best entry into the 13.3 inch realm. So if you guys agree with our list, if you don't agree with our list, if we've missed something, we almost missed that Hanvon, let us know and we're not going to revise our list, but we'll start a discussion in the comments section down below. For GoodieReader.com and a top 5, this is Peter.